What's up, Sagittarius? Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Welcome to your tarot reading here at the Intuitive Teacup. Please come into this reading with an open heart and an open mind, a desire to maybe learn something, better yourself, better the situation that you're dealing with. Let's see. Please take away only what resonates for you and release the rest. Best to trust your own intuition above all else because you are accountable and responsible for all your own actions and decisions. The Six of Coins wants to be seen, so something about coming back into balance, relationships with reciprocity, reciprocal energy. That's coming through for some of you. If you've been lacking that balance, it's coming in. Possibly balance with your money as well. All right, did I finish my spiel? You're accountable and responsible for all your actions and decisions. Trust your own intuition. Let's set the intention. All right, we're going to have fun, I promise, Sagittarius. I always have to do my little spiel at the beginning, right? All right, let's go ahead and refocus our energy. Let's try and get my Sagittarius gang out there, whoever may be watching today, some clear, helpful, and insightful messages for wherever they are currently at on their spiritual path. All right, let's do it. Sagittarius, eclipse season is upon us, just about. So starting around March 25th, we are going to have the full moon lunar eclipse in Libra. Libra is a sign that sextiles Sagittarius, meaning there's some compatibility there, right? It's air and fire. So depending on where your placements in Sagittarius are, this could be beneficial or helpful or supportive to you. Let's talk to the tarot and see what messages want to come out for you regarding eclipse season. For Sagittarius, let's tap into their energy, what might be coming in. Page of Cups. This is being more expressive with your creativity as well as your emotional vulnerability. It's very childlike energy, right? It's very innocent. It's very pure. It's, in theory, kind of untainted. Sometimes the Page of Cups can be someone coming forward and expressing an emotional truth to us. Other times it can be an apology, right? Some sort of expression of truth, of feelings. All right, and the Hermit. All right, so something is warming up. If it's been cold, if it's been distant, if it's been isolated, and if it's just been different. I'm getting with the Hermit energy, someone has been either I'm hearing the word secluded. Someone in hermit mode, right? It's like they've kind of gone within. They're on some sort of spiritual journey or wandering off down some different sort of soul path. It's like very much soul-searching energy, even if you are in a partnership or whatever this is regarding. It seems like you or someone in your life has kind of chosen to isolate themselves a little bit because they're seeking deeper answers. They're seeking spiritual knowledge. They're probably looking for their path, right? For some of you, quite literally has to do with a space or a territory or not feeling rooted or at ease in where you're at currently. The beautiful blessing of the Hermit is that, what is a dim light in his lantern, eventually it becomes the star in the sky. Eventually, it is his guiding compass now, but it's very small. It's like a muted light, right? It's in his lantern. Eventually it becomes the star in the sky and then the moon and then the sun. It gets bigger, right? If it's dim now, it starts to illuminate more and more as we take some sort of venture down a new path. I don't know if it has to necessarily involve a huge risk per se, but it does have to do with being open-minded, right? It's Virgo energy. So there needs to be some adaptability, some flexibility, some openness to change and shift and edit our plan. And then we have to remember the 9 of the Hermit rolls into 10, right? And that's the Wheel of Fortune. That's beautiful blessings. That's divine timing. I frequently see the Wheel of Fortune symbolically kind of as a guiding compass, right? It's literally like that circle thing that, it guides you, it navigates you. I think you're finding your way towards something that is more emotionally satisfying and pleasing. Some of you are getting more in touch with your inner child and doing things more spontaneously. You're getting back into fun hobbies or things that used to excite you that, they're playful, they're silly, they're buoyant, they're lighthearted. I think that's important with the Page of Cups. Some of you may be having difficulties with a child in your life, like behavioral issues or a child who they're just struggling in some capacity. And I don't mean that to be a fear-based message. I think you would already know if it is your story. I do see that child being able to open up to you a little bit more and again, express some sort of truth. You guys are able to get more in alignment, but you might quite literally be doing research online about what's going on with your child if they're doing this or behaving that way, or maybe it's dealing with whatever school bullies or attention deficit disorder or something like that. You may be like going down a path of knowledge in order to learn something about your child. And if you don't have a child and that's not your message, that may have to do with you looking into something that you struggled with in your youth or as a child. Again, it's like healing of the inner child, even if you are, a full-fledged adult, no matter what age that is. It's like looking back and trying to understand something from almost like a childlike perspective, because it makes it easier to understand and digest. Like, it's easier to just extrapolate the basic key points versus trying to understand like the spiritual lesson, right? There's something very heavy about that. It's like, break it down so that a child could understand. And I think some of you are doing that for yourself. Like, am I happy? Well, why not? So rather than giving the adult version of the reasons why you're not happy, it's like, well, what's going to make this child happy? Are they safe? Are they nurtured for? Are they being provided with what they need? That sort of thing. Is there an outlet for creativity? Is there an outlet for play and fun? All right. Some of you, there's a Virgo who's going to come out of the woodworks and maybe express some sort of emotion to you. Or that being said, it could be an earth sign of any kind, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. I do think some of you have a new plan of action regarding how to make more money or increase your finances. You may be speaking to a financial advisor. You may be seeking wisdom about not competitors per se, but people who are in the field that you want to get into. You might literally be reaching out to them via email or writing and being like, hey, I have a few questions. Can I run them by you? It almost feels like some of you may be interviewing someone that you hold in very high regard, or just trying to get to know them, network. Maybe you're connecting with people on LinkedIn. It doesn't have to be like a celebrity per se, right? That message keeps coming into your reading, Sagittarius. Don't think I haven't noticed. But yeah, in terms of sort of trying to match or mirror those around you that really inspire you and sort of bring out the best in you, particularly in terms of something you want to seek and pursue in your career path, your career field. It's like you're trying to get in with those people. And I think you're doing it with a lovely energy. You're not doing it out of a place of like, they're my competition, so like I have ulterior motives. It's not that at all. It's quite the opposite. It's coming into this beautiful energy of wanting to support one another and feed off of each other. Because make no mistake about it, just because you're new at whatever, or for some of you with page energy, just because you're still learning the ropes here, or you're new at this sort of strategy or project that you're working on, it doesn't mean that you don't have valuable insights that you could offer people who've been doing it longer, because you're like a fresh pair of eyes. You have a fresh perspective. You aren't as, I don't know if jaded is the appropriate term, but it's like someone's been in it so long that they may lack sort of the perspective and the fresh ideas and needing to shake things up and change it up and try a different way. It's like you breathe new air into it. You breathe new life into it. So absolutely pursue that. I do see some sort of solution regarding your money. And if you're not there yet with the Virgo energy, the Hermit energy, not Virgo, but it could be. The Hermit energy always shines his lantern on what we're meant to focus on. And here it's on the Queen of Pentacles. So money, resources, tangible goods, material goods, our bank account, and also, our self, how much we value ourselves, our skills, our tools, our talents that we bring to the table, operating in a higher capacity of self-respect and confidence. It's Capricorn energy, so it says whatever you want, there's no reason not to pursue it, but buckle up for the long haul, right? Saturn is the great teacher. It is the great teacher of lessons, and Saturn doesn't do anything fly by night, right? It's very opposite, I'm sure I've told you guys, of your own Jupiterian energy, right? You're ruled by planet Jupiter. It's expansion, it's buoyancy, it's plucky, it's good luck, it's fun, it's abundance. It's not that Saturn can't become that eventually, but I don't think that's the proper way of phrasing it, though, because just quite literally by nature, Saturn is constrictive. It really has you focus in, it has you commit to something, dedication, loyalty, and you have to approach it with more seriousness, right? Now, being, someone who I am assuming has Sagittarius in their chart, you're going to have both, and that's what I mean. You may be getting into some sort of career field that is requiring both that Sagittarian optimism, but balanced with the Saturnian responsibility and seriousness and dedication. So it's both. There's a mending of both. There's a lot of earth energy here. But I think it could be something that's a little bit more intuitive, a little bit more feeling. Maybe it's involving spirituality. Maybe it's involving, I don't know, pleasure, hobbies, sports, creativity, and making that sort of your own, cutting your own path. Wanting to incorporate, I don't know, some of the things I just listed. Here we go. Oh my goodness. All right, so let's see. It's funny, I thought this was the 10 of Cups at first because of the rainbow. It's the 7 of Cups, but this is a very lucky and an optimistic 7 of Cups. This to me is very much like the world is your oyster. You have so many different things that you can pick and choose from. It's easy to get distracted not distracted, that's not quite the word I mean. Overwhelmed, but overwhelmed by possibility. So as long as you're not leaning into the fear of, oh my gosh, what if I make the wrong mistake? It shouldn't be about that. I think with this energy, there's a need to take this take this responsibility seriously in choosing your path forward. But with that Virgo energy, and I do mean Virgo this time, not necessarily Hermit energy, which is a mutable sign like you might be being asked to dip your toe in the pool, but maybe not put all your chips in one basket or all your eggs in one basket. There might be a need to try some things on and, dip your toe and see if it suits you, see if you like it. And if it doesn't, that way you haven't fully committed yourself to something. You're just kind of like, it's funny, I heard checking out the competition. That word keeps coming through, so that might be significant for some of you, but it's very like, I don't think this is literal, but I'm hearing this phrase of like, travel the world, see what's up, see what's out there, maybe it's not about, again, all your eggs in one basket. It's like, try some things on for size, see what you like, see what you don't like. This feels very much like advice that you would give your child, before they go off to college, like say they're deferring for a year or something, and at least in a higher vibration, not that all parents do this, but there's just like this, grant yourself the freedom to explore. It's a blessing. You have one life to live, so make the most of it, You don't need to be tied down yet. You don't need to be too serious right now. Like, you have so much life to live. And I understand that part of that is being contradicted with what I said about the Saturn energy, but I almost take it to mean this, Sagittarius. Are you listening? I'm like pulling the mic closer symbolically. I think it's your responsibility to explore your different options. I think you owe it to yourself to not necessarily commit to something if you're half-hearted about it, if you're half in, half out. Because with the Page of Cups, we're still figuring out how we feel about something. It's not the King of Cups. It's not the Queen of Cups. It's like, I'm getting all these metaphors. It's like a child tasting something for the first time. There's almost like a little bit of fear there. Like, what if it tastes bad? Like, it's like, ugh, broccoli. It's like, there's something about that, but it's being relayed to me in a silly way. I think you are being asked to take a responsibility, not lightly, to take it seriously, that you have to, I'm always getting Two of Pentacles energy, like juggling multiple things at once. And it doesn't have to be burdensome if you don't want it to be. It has to do with your perspective. But it's such a good Sagittarius message because you're mutable fire. You're not Leo, right? Leo is fixed fire. It's meant to stay and commit and sustain, right? Leo is symbolically the campfire. We all gather around it, right? And we watch it and it performs and it keeps us warm and sustained and all that. Sagittarius is mutable, so it's mobile, it's adaptable, it's flexible, it's a little here and a little bit there, right? That's why Sagittarians get that reputation for being a little bit scattershot sometimes, or a little bit like romantically like Casanova. It's like, I'm going to love this person for a bit, but then I'm going to move on and love this person too. And like, that's neither here nor there. I'm not trying to take that as a dig, but I'm trying to explain to you the difference of why mutability is essentially in some ways part of your destiny if you strongly resonate with the sign of Sagittarius. It is the traveler, it is the adventurer. And so I think for a lot of you out there, it's important to look at whatever your next, I'm wanting to say like point of destiny is, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve or accomplish. I wouldn't necessarily look at that as a fixed end goal, like a finality or a certainty. I think it's about exploring it and discovering it and being curious and asking questions and not just reading about it in a book, right? Going out and experiencing it and living that. And like, I'm hearing the word like breathe it in, excuse me. Take it in as a part of you, and then you bring it with you on your journey elsewhere or wherever you hit next or go next. It's like you have a responsibility to be open to change and adaptability. Sometimes with Saturn, fear comes into the picture a lot, anxiety, as well as wanting a certain amount of control and certainty. And it's almost like that's the spiritual lesson that the hermit is learning. And I mean, I know we all know this, but sometimes it's hard to put it into practice or into principle. It's like, there are no guarantees. There are no certainty. So we have no reason not to make the best of whatever possible outcome is being presented to us, or whatever it is we're pursuing, rather. But know that you can always change your mind, and that's okay. Some of you have concerns about money, and yeah, again, it's easy for me to say and preach over here because I don't know your financial situation. But at the end of the day, like, what's more important to you, living life or living under the constraints of your bank account? And I'm not saying that you just need to, throw all logic out the window and live a wild and crazy life, as much as we'd all like to do that. Again, it's both. It's Jupiter and Saturn. But I think there's some sort of spiritual lesson here of knowing that money is always going to be in flux. Money in itself is kind of mutable, right? Especially with Virgo energy. Virgo is an earth sign, very much connected to health and body and value and money. Any earth sign is I would associate with money. But that being said, it's like money's going to come and go. It's going to be in flux. It's going to be changeable. It's going to be mutable. So you have to mirror that and match that. Especially if you are in a more unique career or something that is more entrepreneurial, or almost like, I'm getting like salesman, but there's a better word, like commission based. You sort of get to decide when you work and when you don't, or what things are worth pursuing and chasing versus when you need to like rest and relax and tend to your body. It's like listening to your body, Virgo energy, getting in alignment with what your body's trying to tell you so that you can, operate at maximum capacity. But sometimes that does involve taking a break. Sometimes that does involve making more time for fun and play and pleasure and, sex and partnership and all those things. Yeah. That card wants to be seen. I think you need to be cognizant of the fact where your fear about money might be holding some of you back. Some of you. You have options coming in. And to be honest, a lot of them look really good to me with the Seven of Cups. And I think it's important to note too, with the Seven of Cups, like it totally depends what's surrounding the card. But the Seven of Cups is Venus and Scorpio energy. And Scorpio goes hard and to the extreme, or not at all. It's a very extreme energy. It's all or nothing. And when you put a Venus energy, which is what this is, things to do with money and pleasure and romantic relationships, or any relationships, connection, in a sign, Scorpio, ruled by Mars, there is kind of this contradictory energy. It's like, how do we find the Libra balance in a Scorpio sign that wants to go to the extreme? So it's not to say that's a negative card by any means. A lot of people have that placement in their birth chart, Venus and Scorpio. But sometimes those people might struggle in relationships, or they may struggle in being a people pleaser, or because Mars is all about our ego and our identity and our ability to be single and break off and independent and have a strong sense of autonomy, right? Mars energy, it's sharp, it's loud, it's brash, it wants to break away, but it's also a pioneering spirit. It's a source of inspiration and cutting your own path. It's very adventurous. Mars, very much associated with Aries too, a fellow fire sign. So you might relate more to the Mars energy than the Libra, which is all about, finding the balance, and we need to be considerate of others but not lose ourselves in the process. I'm not sure why I'm going off on this tangent, but I do think it's important to note that when you have the Venus and Scorpio card, sometimes we want to feel very extreme about some sort of decision we're being asked to make, aka we want to feel certain that we're making the right decision. We want to know the absolute truth of the situation so that we can act accordingly. And when the Seven of Cups comes up, it says we're not really certain about how we're feeling, or we don't know what to anticipate from the outcome or what to expect from some sort of endeavor. And that's what I mean. Sometimes you just have to throw your hands in the air and be like, what will be, will be. If something about me feels excited or elated to go through this or to this, whatever, maybe I just have to come to the understanding that no matter what the outcome, no matter what the situation yields or involves, I'll find my footing eventually with the Queen of Pentacles, because I am making smart and practical decisions as I go after this. But for some of you, I think maybe just having a safety net of money, a safety net of a person or something like that, where, you have something in place that will catch you if you fall. But typically Sagittarius is a fairly lucky sign, and pretty plucky, pretty, what is a good word? Tenacity. I don't think you fall as hard and as fast as other signs do because you have the ability to pick yourself up. You know, you have that fire energy where it wants to thrive, it wants to grow, it seeks the air and the oxygen and like it's self-sustaining in some ways. I hope that makes sense for some of you. And then here we have the 10 of coins. Well, my. There's that safety net of money. And some of you may have that. Some of you may have like a nice little nest egg of money that maybe the universe is saying this is going to allow you to take some sort of risk for something that really does call out to you on an emotional level. It's like intuitively you feel drawn towards this. It's sort of like the rules and the structure and the tradition of it may contradict what you were taught to believe growing up. It's almost like not brainwashing, but the idea that something that you were preached when you were younger or in your teen years and early in your career, it's almost like you want to make a leap to something that completely contradicts that, and you're kind of second guessing yourself of like, well, nobody else is doing it this way, but I feel like we could, and like, should I say something? Should I do it anyway? Or I don't know, are you fearful of judgment? I think that's important. Are you fearful of perfectionism? Those can be kind of more shadow side of Virgo energy, and that is coming through fairly strong here. And anything to do with fear, as we said. There could be a female earth sign who is very nurturing and very loving to you and supportive in some capacity, emotionally, physically, monetarily, whatever it is. I also think this is saying if you are considering a big change in your life, save your pennies, for a rainy day. Don't go blowing your money on ridiculous things just because you're looking for like, it's like you need a hit of happiness. So I'm just, I'm going to blow my money and go to the amusement park for the day. It's like, well, you could do that, but maybe it's finding alternate ways to make yourself happy so that you can put your money and resources into some sort of avenue that's actually going to have more beneficial, I'm hearing the word gain in the future. It's like a nicer stream of income. Maybe you have to spend a little to gain a lot. I don't know. That's coming through for some of you. And then bottom of the deck, you have the 5 of Cups. Yeah. So this is only looking at the negative or the glass half empty. You're not seeing the opportunity that lies here. And when the 5 of Cups comes up, it always says to me as a reader, like, be careful because this person may have been through something that was a little bit painful. So the 5 of Cups always tells me as the reader, like, approach this with caution and care. Don't be dismissive of their feelings. But also, it's my responsibility as the reader to tell you, you're not seeing the full picture here. The 5 is right smack in the middle of the story, right? It's not the 1, it's not the 10. It's like we're still very much in it, and we're in it emotionally. Our feelings are very invested in something that we feel like hasn't been working out or didn't work out. What we lack to see in the 5 of Cups, it's sometimes called the crying over spilled milk card, so take that with a grain of salt if you think that applies. We're seeing what has been lost. The cups have been spilled. We're not going to get the milk back, so to say. What we don't realize, though, is that there's a cozy little 2 of Cups behind us that's just waiting to be utilized. It's satisfying. It's fulfilling. It's nourishment. It does also speak of support via another person, too. So even if it feels like you're going at this alone, you're not. You very much have someone on your team who's going to help you through and back you up. And at bare minimum, be some sort of outlet where you can express yourself and your vulnerability and share what you're feeling and your emotions in order to help you sort of find your footing again. There might be something about a blessing in disguise. You may have had to give up something in order to make room for something better, only you didn't realize that's why you had to give it up or why you did give it up. Some sort of the idea of sacrificing something small in order to gain something better. But I sort of sense that you guys are in the middle of that chapter, and in Pisces season, everything is in flux. Everything is super confusing and foggy and untangible, right? I think something beautiful is going to come out of this, but you don't see it yet. And sometimes that's hard because sometimes it hasn't materialized yet. So like the physical evidence of it isn't there. That's where you're being asked to explore your options and trust your intuition, because right now that might be your only point of guidance right now is that feeling you have. But yeah, the 2 of Cups remain here. And there's that Pisces season card, the moon. It's like, the best advice I can give you right now is to trust your gut instinct, Sagittarius. The universe speaks to you through your intuition. So, do some writing, right? Free form writing or journaling or Getting what's going on in your head out on paper so you can look at it and examine it, but also trusting your feeling, trusting your gut about something, even if it defies the expectations of someone you may view in a position of authority or leadership over you. I just sort of get the idea that someone is preaching at you and giving you guidance that very much applies to their life, but it's like not so much yours. It almost has like a father figure type energy or a mother figure type energy. And, it's probably because they want what's best for you, but it's like, I'm also sensing a huge generational gap. Like the rules that applied to them and their generation, what they were quote unquote told to do to succeed, it is a whole new world out there. And so just make sure that you are taking advice from people who, you guys are essentially wanting the same thing and have the same goals and desires and ambition. And that's the tricky thing, Sagittarius, like the whole Mars-Venus energy storyline here. It's like, you may be doing something that's very, very unique and very different. And so finding people who can give you accurate, well, quote unquote, accurate guidance or helpful guidance, you may have to be very discerning on who you ask advice from. Because really, the person who's going to give you the best advice, it's you. It's your inner child. It's your intuition. Oh. So this is like an example of what you can use for the oracle cards. Whoops, I didn't take that out of the deck. All right, let's get an oracle card for Sagittarius. Let's get an oracle card for Sagittarius. Soar. You're being asked to stop dimming your own light, period. It is time for you to come out of the shadows and let your authentic self soar. Fly high, dear one. And then abundance. You're being asked to open your abundance, to believe that you're deserving of it and believe that it will flow to you. This is the first important step towards receiving it. Breathe deeply and trust that it is on its way. And last but not least, a love oracle card. Love didn't factor into this too much, but maybe for some of you it does, and I just didn't see it. But take it if it resonates. Whatever fits your storyline. Those interested in love, anything we need to share with them at the end here. This is 24 healing. It's a Pisces card, healing. All right, so if you have been going through trouble on the home front in any capacity, there is an element of healing, and the word sacrifice is coming here too. I'm wrapping this up, but just really briefly, I do feel like you maybe, if you are in a partnership now, Sagittarius, there may be a circumstance arriving in life where one person is having to take on more of the role and the responsibility and the maturity because the other person may be struggling. Maybe there's a health battle. Maybe there's, I don't know, something going on with your person. Maybe they're struggling with anxiety or depression or difficulties at work, whatever it is. I'm almost getting it that it's your person. You may being asked to like step up into a role and almost like a leadership position, and do know that will change. Again, the card of reciprocity wanted to be seen at the beginning of this reading. Things will be reset into balance and having more kind of shared responsibility, but this might be just a small chapter where it does feel like there's a lot of responsibility being put on you. So the universe is acknowledging that and more or less thanking you for taking one for the team. That will likely change in the future, so hang in there. But do advocate for yourself. Tell your partner how you're feeling and what you need in this relationship to thrive. Others of you who are single and looking, there's a Pisces that is like dazzled by you and obsessed with you, and kind of there's also a Gemini here too, playing the role of temptress and or the male version of that. What did we say earlier? Like the Casanova. It's like they're breadcrumbing you because they want you to knock on their door. They want you to shoot them that text. There's someone who's like, they're like flirting with you on social media, but not in like an outright obvious way. But like you're psychic, you know what's up. They're interested, so hit them up. They will absolutely return the text. All right, Sag, that's what I got for you. Thanks for joining me today. Please show me some love and hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. All of that helps my channel grow. I would greatly appreciate it. Hit the notification bell so you'll be alerted when I post my readings. And if you want more content from me, I am on Instagram and Facebook as The Intuitive Teacup. I do a select amount of personal readings a month, so feel free to reach out to me. There's my email in the dialogue box below, description box below. Reach out to me and we can try and get a personal reading booked for you that would be more catered specifically to your energy and your inquiries. Thanks for joining me today, Sag. I'm the Intuitive Teacup, and I will see you soon for more tarot.